We should know the answer to that, and we should probably cut this out, but we're not going to do it. We're going to keep going.
This is how we do it. Thank you so much for joining us again for week 12. I can't believe you guys are still watching this show.
Well, we're getting a lot of really positive feedback.
I know.
People are learning a lot of amazing things.
And I think we're even getting slightly better.
We are. We are. And I think number 12 will be in our top 11.
At least.
I used that joke last week when I said 11 was in our top 10. But anyway, we always start our Tony Talks with a story. We've got a great one this week. And here it is. Clipboard 2 weeks in a row.
So good.
So this is Christian Youngers. I think it's Jungers, I'm going to guess. Anyway, age 34 from the UK, and he says, Dear Tony, I was always an obese kid, and I carried on with my unhealthy lifestyle into my mid-20s until I got the opportunity to join a gym. Now, this helped slightly, but it didn't really get me anywhere, and I didn't really know what I was doing or how to work out properly. So a couple of years ago, I discovered P90X, and I bought it. You're a wise man. And I have no idea how I came across it, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. It says that right there. I failed at everything at the start. I couldn't do any push-ups, and pull-ups were an absolute pipe dream. But then I heard you say, do your best and forget the rest. And even though I dislike empty motivational phrases in general, I felt like this one actually wasn't so empty, and it rang true. That sentence is the greatest. So I stuck with the program, and I did it fully, but then I did it again and again and again for about 2 years until I built my own gym in our garage and I started lifting. Now I work out 1 to 2 hours every day, 6 days a week with a proper PPL, which is push-pull legs routine, including HIIT training, high-intensity training, sessions twice a week. And sometimes I do the P90X yoga on the 7th day because it makes me feel good. Christian. Love this guy. I went from a completely out of shape, 122 kilograms, that's 242 pounds, 1.86 M's, I don't know, 1.86 M's, I don't know what that is, a wobbly, lazy POS, you can just decide for yourself what POS stands for, to 83 kilograms, which is 183 pounds. Shredded fitness freak. I feel a bit awkward declaring myself shredded, but I got the approval of my other half to be a bit proud of myself, not just working out properly, but also eating healthily at all times, because healthy food can taste good! Exclamation point.
And he is shredded. We'll show you the photo.
Yeah. Will it pop up? Do we have the skills? Team?
We have the skills.
Josh put up this picture. So in short, you have kickstarted all of this, and you have taught me discipline, and this has not only affected my physical state, but also my work life and my desire to learn new things and stick with them, all caps, exclamation point. And if I may have one request, please, Tony, add a poster section to your shop, because I want to hang up posters of all my fitness idols. And so I don't know what other fitness idols he has, probably Sean T or Shalene or somebody. And then I'll be right there between the two of them. So Christian, awesome story, man. Thanks for sharing that. And I don't know if you're seeing that before and after picture now or you just did, but it's pretty
so
impressive.
Good.
Completely
so
two
good.
different people.
Super impressive.
Thank you. That was awesome.
And that's why we share these stories, because this guy had no idea what he was doing, couldn't do a single thing, and stuck with it. And now it's, night and day. Night and day.
Awesome,
so cool.
Awesome sauce. Low calorie,
awesome
low sugar.
Sauce.
Yeah.
I love it.
You like awesome sauce?
I do.
You're awesome sauce. All right, what do we got, Mrs. H?
All right.
I am ready to answer the problems,
Right.
questions, sing the answers, and the solutions.
Jumping right in. So our first question comes from Cynthia in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
And her question is about staying motivated during this pandemic. She's in a bit of a funk.
Welcome to the club.
So she says, hey, Tony, I discovered you with Beachbody with P90X. I've done all your programs. X, X2, X3, one-on-one, next level. She really has. What about Hawawalakakano?
That's close. Ho-alakakano, which means rock on, boys and girls. This is going to be fun.
Awesome.
No.
Really liked how I felt and looked. I even have a picture of you showing your guns when you were in Dallas, Texas. But I lost my job. I lost my house. I moved to Colorado to chase a dream. And now I'm working construction, getting up at 3:30 in the morning and working till 6:30 p.m.
Aye.
I'm exhausted, frustrated, and depressed. I see you now and the super things you do, and instead of feeling encouraged, I feel discouraged because I'm so tired after work and I can't do workouts anymore. I see my body is getting soft compared to what it used to be. I'm now 55. How do you overcome the depression and discouragement to get back on your feet? I don't have family here and I'm all by myself. My coworkers only have one thing in mind, and that's drinking, so I don't want any part of that crowd. Our gym's shut down here, so I left to my own devices to work out. Got any ideas on how to get out of this funk? How do you find the motivation to work out when you've been working outside in the heat for 12 hours? Not
easy. So here's what I recommend for you. Forget about doing it at the end of the day. Like you've had this crazy day and you're working outside in the heat. You got a bunch of people who want to just after work want to go get sauced. So you have to work out in the morning, and you have to work out before you go to work, which means you have to get up earlier, which means you have to go to bed earlier. And this is just my recommendation because as far as what I can tell from what you're saying, it's your only option. First thing in the morning, you're going to feel like crap. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be, the transition from getting up where you used to and now getting up earlier is not going to be easy at all. And then I would do 22-minute hardcore. If you're a fan of me and you like my stuff, 22-minute hardcore is 22 minutes. It's down and dirty. You don't need a bunch of stuff. Just flip and do it, all right? And get a calendar. Get a dang calendar. Excuse me. And it old school. I mean, here it is. It's going to be hard to find a 2020 calendar. Also because it's been such an awesome year. I'm sure people are just collecting those things. Maybe you'll find one because whatever. But go online and find a 2020 calendar. They are there. You can find them and get a red magic marker and hang it on that magic marker and make 22 X's on that calendar every single day. And 22 X's means you worked out 22 days. Also, I don't assume that you work 7 days a week, so definitely make 2 of your days off a work day. And make sure that you work out Saturday and Sunday. That means you don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and work out. You can kind of pick whatever times work. So 2 of your most important days are Saturday and Sunday. Or maybe you work Saturday and Sunday and you have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. I don't know what it is, but that's super critical for you. Make the X's because the deal here is you're super depressed and you're super sad. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, you've got no family around and you're not exercising. We all know by now, and I've said it a million times, that every time you exercise, you release all these amazing chemicals inside of your head. And those chemicals that are released inside of your head change your perspective and your mood and your memory and cognition and your outlook and everything. All those things. And you want all those things because all those things are the opposite of the things that you have now, which aren't good, which are making you sad. So go work out, make the red X's, and just do it. I hate to use a Nike phrase. But just bring it, do it, earn it, rock it, own it, kill it.
Get some.
Get some. You know what I mean? Because you know who you are with it, and you know who you are without it, and who you are without it, right? I mean, the reason why you feel this way is because you're not working out. And if you did, you'd solve it in your first workout. Forget about the flab and the six-pack abs and the cute booty. Don't worry about that right now. Just do it because it changes the way you think about your life and the world that you're in.
And 22-minute hardcore is such an easy thing to commit to. I mean, it's by the time you get started, you're done, and you're in a full sweat, and you see results quick.
Yeah. I don't want to belabor the answer because that's the answer. That's it, the whole answer. And I hope that's enough. You got to eat right too, right? Remember, because food is also going to affect the way the chemicals in your brain and stuff. So get off the fat, sugar, salt, and chemicals, and get away from the unhealthy versions of bottles, boxes, cans, and bags. That's the stuff that's in the pantry. Open up the fridge more, which is where the fruits and vegetables should be. You know what I mean? And
keep the healthy stuff at eye level.
Yeah. And keep the unhealthy stuff in the grocery store.
Good advice.
There you go. All right.
Good advice.
Great question. I hope that helps.
If you're only going to do one step at a time, start with the workouts and go from there. It's going to change everything.
Yeah. 5 days a week minimum. 5. 4 is just barely pulling it off. 3 is a waste of time. Might as well throw yourself down a set of stairs. Same thing. I'm really sore, but nothing's happening. Because the 4 days off is more days than the 3 days on. And 4 always beats 3. Take it from a professional poker player over here. There you go. Next question.
All right, Cynthia, thank you so much for the question. And
Very
please
good.
let us know how you're doing. Next one is from Joe from Iowa. And he says, hello, Tony. I hope you're doing well. I just started P90X2 this week after countless rounds of the original P90X and the occasional X3. And it's completely kicking my butt.
Yeah.
This might be the most fun I've ever had exercising, probably ever. It really feels as if you hit your stride on this one. Anyway, I'm curious if you have a program that you are most proud of and one that you'd personally pick if you absolutely had to.
It's a great question. And by the way, P90X2, it's what I always say, it's the one that got away. It's the one that got away. A lot of people are completely unaware of it, and for some that are aware of it are pretty intimidated by it. But it's really interesting that his perspective, that Joe's perspective about it is, oh wow, because it's fitness education. You know what I mean? I mean, you've got the PRP and the proprioceptive exercises, and a lot of the moves in P90X2 take time to learn. You know, I mean, doing a bicep curl or a push-up or a lunge or something, the time frame on learning that is pretty short. But, you know, with X2, you know, you're doing 4-ball push-ups with impossibles and, you know, just insanity. But if you don't mind just sort of being a guinea pig and going, you know, failing and understanding that, oh, I can't do it, but I want to keep trying. You know what I mean? It's like a little contest. It's like a conundrum surrounded by a puzzle mixed inside of an enigma. Yes. See what I did there?
I see.
C- student. I don't know what any of those words mean, but I, you know, I'm half kidding. Am I? Am I not? I don't know. But no, that's really it, man. And the second part of your question is X2. I still do the vast majority of those X2 workouts somewhere, not the entire routine, because I can't look at myself on a screen. It makes me just want to go, oh, dude, mute that guy. But I do a lot of those moves still all the time because they're challenging. They're skill-based. They're athletic-based exercises. And, you know, most people, and I've said this before, are stuck in the cardio weight training worlds. That's a lot of people, probably the majority of most people. You know, you get in a Pilates class, you learn something. You go to a yoga class, you learn something. You take a martial arts class, you learn something. You go to a rock climbing gym, you learn something. You go, you know, ride your bike in the mountains, you're going to learn something, right? You're going to learn how to move differently than the traditional, very linear, you know, stuff that you do on machines and in a gym, which is not a bad thing. I mean, for a lot of people, that's a great start. It's certainly better than nothing. And cardio, you know, like people that get on a stationary bike for 50 minutes, they're like, oh, why? And I used to do it. I used to go to the gym and do an hour and a half of chest.
Me too. Elliptical.
And Sean would get on the elliptical like a gerbil, a gerbipical. You know what I mean? So my stuff's non-traditional. Even P90X has all that variety when we called it muscle confusion, which is a made-up term to describe variety, really. I mean, Jack LaLanne had something called periodization training, which is, you know, in the same ballpark. And so, yeah, X2, it's the bomb diggity, keep on going, and it's probably been my tour de force product I ever made.
Nice. I can see why. That one's fun. It's like a jungle gym
Yeah,
in a box.
with balls. It's a jungle. It's a jungle gym in a box with balls.
There you go. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Thanks, Joe.
Great question.
Who's next?
Okay, our next question comes from Frederick from Michigan.
All right, Frederick.
And his question is about maintenance. Car maintenance.
Car. Well, you know, you want a gangler wrench, usually a 12-inch. You want to bring it in with a carburetor starting to vibrate. The key is to make sure you want to go...
Counterclockwise?
Yes.
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tighty, righty, lefty, Louie.
Lucy. Louie?
Lucy.
Hi, Tony. First off, I'd like to thank you for being such a wonderful and entertaining fitness coach.
That's me.
My sister and I are about halfway done with P90X program, and the results are already starting to show.
Of course they
Is that
are.
a month and a half? That's awesome. 6 weeks. Question is, after completing the P90X program, what type of exercise or program do you recommend for maintenance? P90X clearly works. I'm just having a bit of an issue with the time requirements due to work, kids, etc., and I fear losing my gains. Thank you, and God bless you. And P.S. I can't wait for the reveal of your new adventure. I'm buying it. I can't wait. Well, apparently this question came in a little bit ago, but
Yeah, that's a freshie.
awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, P90X, you're halfway through, so you'll finish that. And I mean, if you're already seeing results, the two of you, then I can't imagine send us those after pictures because you probably look amazing. And I understand, P90X with ab ripper or that hour and a half yoga, like yippee, holy cow, that's a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? But that's partly the reason why you're getting the results you're getting and the results that you're going to get. It's just, the more you do, the better you get, right? So, like, I look at it like this: you can go through 5th grade, and you'll be able to speak and stuff. But then you get up to like junior high school, and then you can do more stuff, and then you graduate from high school, and then you can drive, and you can probably balance your checkbook and be a human being. And then you go to college, and oh my God, if you got that opportunity, then you're going to learn even more. So it really depends on how far you want to go. And but typically your 2 options are, at least based on my programs, you've got 22-minute hardcore, which is just another experience. Those are 22-minute workouts. Or P90X3. Now, here I am. I'm doing my own adventure, and I work with Gaiam, and I've got something called Next Level. Those Next Level workouts are sort of all over the place when it comes to time frame. Some are shorter, some are longer. And so you can probably dabble in that as well. But if you like the program and you like the structure and you like to be told what to do and when to do it, then, that's why you do 22-minute hardcore, because it's already there for you. P90X3, it's already there for you. And when we do another one, our Power Nation workout program, there will be 12 plus workouts for people to do there. And the cool thing about that one is, and it's going to be a while, so there's beta 1, and if you want to sign up for beta 1, then you can do the routines. Not all the workouts, but some of them have stop points of 2 different stop points. You can go all the way to the end, which averages out about a little under an hour, or you can stop at the 30-minute mark or so, or the 40-minute mark or so. It's not exactly at that time frame.
It's nice. You pick what you
can do on that particular day, and that's nice. It's nice when you go, oh my God, I never did. And then you can fast forward to the cool down. And those options are there for you. So, Next Level if you want, 22-minute hardcore if you like, P90X3, or this brand new one if you want to get in the beta group right now. And how do they get into the beta group? Do you know the answer to that question?
Join Power Nation Beta.
Is it beta1.com?
I think it's just joinpowernationbeta.com.
I think it's going to appear right here. Josh, put it right here for everybody. Right? Or
Josh is working hard. Thank you, Josh.
I don't know if you can. We should know the answer to that, and we should probably cut this out, but we're not going to do it. We're going to keep going.
This is how we do it. Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you, Frederick from Michigan. Next question comes from Paige in Philadelphia, PA. And her question is about essential ski gear, and I can see you are prepared for this.
I was ready for this question.
She says, hi, my question is, what are your favorite and most essential clothing items for skiing? Also, I'd truly like to thank you for always being a source of motivation and inspiration on my health journey. Thank you.
Well, there's a lot of brands out there, right? So, there's one brand that I kind of leaned into for a long time. It's not a cheap brand. It's called Arc'teryx. Arc'teryx, that's how you pronounce it. You're going to have to Google that one, and I can't begin to spell that for you. But then, we're in Jackson Hole, and, there's a brand that came out of Jackson Hole called Stio, and I even have a jacket. So I brought out my jacket here. So you can see it. This is right here. I'm probably blurry, but you can see how this is structured, you know what I mean? Beautiful color. Really brings out my eyes.
It really brings out my eyes.
There you go.
Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way.
Keep going, Miss Horton. Right, so I put a lot of layers in here. I know it looks big on me. Either that or I'm losing a bunch of weight, I'm not sure. But you know what I mean? Double pockets. There's pockets inside for your phone. You know what I mean? Like, look at that little dreamy there. These two here. So Stio's a great brand. Pants. Under layers and things like that. So
my favorite poopy coats from Stio too.
That's right. So Arc'teryx, Stio, that's kind of where I live. And then I'm a kind of a Smith's goggle guy. I use a Smith helmet and Smith goggles because the helmet and the goggles are made to fit, so there's no seam. Now I've been a Lang boot guy for a while. If you want to get into some of the other stuff. So here are my boots. I just got them last year. You can see how fresh they are.
His old ones were old. I'm not sniffing that, just so you know.
Get ahead of that.
Nope.
Okay. Right. So there they are. Look at those black mambas, man. So beautiful there, and because Lang's always been known as sort of a precision boot. You have to kind of get them fitted and everything else. And
that's what I have. I love them.
Do you have you have Langs too now?
I do.
That's your third
yeah,
one.
It took me several fittings in the beginning to get them just right, but now
yeah,
I never want to let them go.
Yeah. And now when it comes to bindings, for example, I know I've them off screen right now. Here's the ski, but I'm going to show you that too in a second. But Tyrolia, Solomon, and Marker are kind of where I live on the bindings. And I want you to see these things here. For a lot of you, like, all right, get off the skis because I don't even ski. These are Black Crows. These are really popular when we were in France, right? We saw it, Black Crows everywhere, and these are a fairly new brand around here. But when it comes to skis, you just got to demo skis and try them out. You know what I mean? These are 180. This is kind of a tall ski. I like a longer ski. Now that they've gotten fatter. Right, skis used to be like this, but now they're wider. So
is that centimeters, 180 centimeters.
180
long?
centimeters, correct, right? And they're about 97 right here. This is the waist, 97 underfoot, and a lot of them are getting wider and wider, 100 plus, right? So this is kind of the perfect all mountain because we ski in Jackson Hole, and there's a lot of powder there, but then some days there aren't, and so you want one ski that you can slap on and ski the whole mountain. And for me, and this one is called Carmex. Is that am I pronouncing that right? Carmox.
Well, if it's like Chamonix, it's probably Camo or something.
Camo. Camox. And there's all the stats right there. No, right? Pretty. And that's just a beautiful, look at those colors, everything. Yeah, beautiful. So there you go on ski equipment.
Cool, man.
There you go. That was out of the box. That wasn't about exercise. But, skiing is my favorite sport. And, here's a little added thing to this. If you have a sport that you really love and you want to continue to do it as you get older, you have to exercise. And so if your only reason to exercise is so that you can look pretty in front of people who don't care, because they usually don't care because they're too focused on themselves, right? So, what a disappointment that turns out to be. But if you got a sport that you love, like Shauna horseback rides, it's not like she's going out. She goes on trail rides, but she's barrel racing and herding cows and stuff, right? Like, the proprioception and the agility and the coordination to do that requires somebody to exercise a lot. You know what I mean? And so it's another way to stay motivated. And I'm really excited that you have skiing as your sport. And I hope some of that intel helped you.
And it's really good exercise.
Yeah. I mean, skiing, you're outdoors, you're flying down a mountain. I mean, it's just such an amazing experience. And whether you're a snowboarder or skier or skateboarder or surfer or mountain biker or whatever your thing is, if you're exercising regularly, then your sport is a whole lot more fun, and you get a whole lot better at it in a shorter period of time, and you can do it for many years.
Because I ride my horse now in a handstand. It's awesome.
Yes, a one-handed handstand on the saddle, one arm in the air. Yeah.
Anyway, that was a cool, different question.
Yes.
Thank you, Paige.
Yes. There you go. What's next, Mama?
All right. Our next one comes from EC. That's all I get.
EC.
2 initials. EC from South Carolina.
Esther Cornelius.
So Esther Cornelius, I'm sure you know who you are.
Yes.
And this is actually about your dad.
Oh. I knew this one was coming.
And so EC wants to know, he says, I love your Tony Talks. Thank you and the wonderful Shauna for making us all smile each week. My question is, would you please tell us more about your dad who threw the no-hitter? That workout always leaves me wanting to know more about him. Thanks.
So my father from north of South Attleboro there in Massachusetts, just over the Rhode Island border. My dad was a ball player. My father was actually the captain of the football, basketball, and baseball team. Whether he was a co-captain or not, I'm not sure. At Tabor Academy, which is where he went to high school. And then he went to the University of Rhode Island, and then Clemson. He went to 2 schools, he transferred. And so my father was a big, even though he was pretty good at all sports, he was very athletic. My grandfather was a task master and really pushed my father in sports. And so, that kind of 1940s, 50s sort of browbeating, don't be a loser, didn't make my dad very happy. But he ended up being a pretty good athlete as a result. But baseball was really his sport, above and beyond everything else. He was going to be recruited by the then New York Giants before they became the San Francisco Giants, and he was going to be part of the, a AAA or AA, I'm not sure where. And he was a pitcher, and he was fast. And my father threw fastballs, curveballs, and forkballs. So curveball, right? Curveball is this way. Forkball, or I don't even know if they call it a forkball, is it this way, and then a fastball is, holding those seams right down the middle. And there's stories about my father where batters would get in the batting box like this, because my father would either strike you out or hit you with the ball. And my father had a bit of a kind of a temper. My father did.
And he wasn't a small guy either.
He wasn't a small guy. He was 6'1", and he had like like we have a relaxed face. His relaxed face looks like I'm going to murder you. That was my dad's thing. He was an intense guy, and I think he had more than one no-hitter in his career, and I still believe that there are some records that he holds when he was playing for a local team in Westerly, Rhode Island, where I was born. Wow. And the thing is, he met my mother, and they got married, and then she got pregnant with me. They were married, and I was born 10 months later. It was just like, let's have a kid, boom, and then that kind of messed with my father's baseball career, unfortunately. I know what it was. My grandmother told my father, "You're not playing baseball till you finish college." So then he went from the URI to Clemson, and then then there was marriage and knee and marriage, and then he joined the Army, became a tank commander, and that's when we moved 6 times, and that brief moment of maybe I'll be a professional baseball player. And the crazy thing was, there was a Tony Horton that played with the Cleveland Indians that was younger than my father. He's probably, I think he's still around. My father would be 83 now, and the real Tony Horton was probably about 15 years older than I am. So yeah, there was the first Tony Horton, then one that played with the Indians and a couple other teams, and then me. And there's a lot of Tony Hortons.
There are.
And I wasn't much of a baseball player. I wasn't much of an athlete, really, early on. And I wasn't even a good skier back in the day. But I figured all that stuff out later in my life. But that's really cool that you asked that question about my dad. Thank you. And he was, and remember when we used to, as kids, we would play basketball. My father was just like, my friends would love to come over and watch my because none of their dads played hoop with us. You know what I mean? My dad was like big at fouling you while he was. It was just like, oh my God. Oh yeah, my father was a bull in a china shop, man. But but whatever he and my mom did, they made this guy, so they did okay.
Turned out all right.
Yeah, you married him.
I did.
You married me, Mr. Horton.
I did. Thank you, Mr. Horton Sr.
Yeah, and thank you for that question.
Our last question comes from Tracy from Austin, Texas, and she says she is 40 years young.
Very good. Tracy from Austin, Texas, 40 years young.
Hi, Tony and Mrs. Horton. I loved episode 10, and I was hoping that you could both give your top 5 books we should read. It could be all subjects, really health, self-improvement, relationship, etc. Also, is there a way to purchase digital versions of P90X? I read where you can sign up with the Beachbody, but you get access to all sorts of programs, and I'm only interested in the ones that you've created.
Well, why don't you start with your book list? You have a book list, don't you?
Yeah, and mine aren't must reads, so ours are gonna be a little different. Mine are just ones that I recently read. One of them made me cry. It's faction. It's I would say it's fiction based on nonfiction. So it's based on a true story.
I'm dying to know. I don't know if I know this.
And this one is called Before We Were Yours.
Oh.
And it's about a couple little girls.
So it's a novel.
It is.
What's faction?
Faction. I say because it's fiction, but it's based on fact. All the events in here actually happened.
Oh, I like books like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's a bit of history in here, and then so of course after I read the book, I had to Google everything about the real story, and the real story is terrifying. What actually happened? It's about this woman who ran an orphanage in I don't remember where they were, South Carolina, Louisiana, Memphis, something like that. Anyway, cool, this was a really, really good book. It's one of those that I couldn't put down. And my other one, which Tony talked about a few weeks ago, is Drop Dead Healthy by A.J. Jacobs.
Good one.
This guy is a crack up. He's every book I've ever read of his makes me laugh like crazy. And this one just happens to be appropriately about fitness and health. So
yeah, about his quest to try every morsel, every kind of fitness, every kind of gadget, everything. And it was really funny.
And in the end, he actually ends up because he's a writer. He's the editor-at-large of Esquire magazine. And he actually ends up making a standing desk at his treadmill, and I believe that's still how he writes to this day.
Yeah, there you go. I would never do that. So, here are mine, and these are all categories, and I'll get through them pretty quickly. So, this is Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. It's 134 pages, give or take. Let's see if I was close. 130. Wait a minute, I could be right on. Yeah, with the prayers at the end, it's 131 pages, and it's the most simple little book, and it's about it's a Toltec book of wisdom, and it's a practical guide to personal freedom. And if you look at the Four Agreements, and I'm going to just be brief here, but oh no, come to Papa, where are you? Oh rats! I thought they'd be up here. Here they are, right in the beginning. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. And so so the expression that I made famous, that I trademarked, do your best and forget the rest, I pinched a little of that from Don Miguel Ruiz. Always, yeah.
Great advice that is.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Be impeccable with your word. That's one that
I like the second one.
Yeah, don't take anything personally.
With all the things going on in social media and all the anger and all the curmudgeons and all these people.
Yeah. This is one that really gets your head on straight. It really had a huge impact on me.
I love that.
I actually went and saw him speak. So, and if you, I'm getting choked up. If you say his name really quickly, it sounds like Dom DeLuise, but it's not.
That's who I thought you were talking about for the long time.
Don Miguel Ruiz. All right, and the next one is one of the first personal development books I ever read, from M. Scott Peck, who wrote several books, author of The Different Drum and some other things. The Road Less Traveled is the name of the book. M. Scott Peck. It's pretty heady stuff, and it's about 310 pages long. This really, I needed this book a lot. A new psychology of love, traditional values, and spiritual growth. Like Shauna's like, you read that book? So there's The Road Less Traveled, there's Further Down the Road Less Traveled, there's The Road Less Traveled and Beyond, there's this book called The Different Drum, and I read them all. And I even wrote him a letter, and he wrote me back. He's passed away since. He was a big, heavy smoker, and he died of lung cancer. But yeah, that's a classic personal development book. If anybody doesn't know about The Road Less Traveled, then you got to get that on your list. Next is The Alchemist. Hello. Anybody who knows anything about personal development knows that The Alchemist is got to be on your list, got to be on your shelf. And it's an international famous book, and it's a story. It's a pretty amazing story. And so
that's a little skinny one too.
It's a little skinny one. It's a good one. It's a classic, right? So this one is really interesting, and it's more than 5, and we're going to go over time. Romancing the Shadow by Steve Wolf. He's also Connie Zell, who I never met, but I used to take seminars from Steve Wolf. And this is an interesting book because it talks about who you are and then who you pretend to be, and that those two things are too far apart, and you have to begin to romancing the shadow is this persona that you put out to the world. That is, like everything's great and terrific, and I'm on top of things. But in reality, you're dealing with a lot of stuff. But you're putting out this, you're portraying.
It's Facebook.
Yeah, it's Facebook. It's Facebook. Yeah, like if we were a fly on the wall, we'd know who you really were. And Facebook is that pretend version of who you are. And this helps you understand that you can't be two different people. You got to be one. You know what I mean? And so you're romancing, which is great. It's like, hey, you know that thing that you're trying to pretend to be? That's not serving you. And there's all kinds of great lessons. And there are things that I still practice from this book. And look, I even have my old business card shoved into page 144.
Look at that. That's part of history right there.
Right there.
Okay.
Look at that little card. Ash Fitness. And there's my phone number on there, so I'm going to put that on there. But it's an old phone number. So, Romancing the Shadow, Stephen Wolf, really, really good. And then this one is so powerful. If you haven't read this book, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Have you ever read this?
No.
Oh my God, honey, man, this is just...
Give it to me, I'll put it on my...
Put that on your list. So, Viktor Frankl was captured by the Nazis in World War II and put in a prison camp. And, from that experience, he figured out a way to love anybody and everybody. He tells a story in there where they march, he and a bunch of other Jewish prisoners out into a snowstorm where it's like, whatever, sub-zero, and in the snowing, and they give him a shovel, a spoon to dig a ditch in the snow with, I think, no shoes and gloves on him. It was just completely horrible. Just torture him like that. And then the German soldier is hitting him in the back of the head while he's digging this ditch. And he's filled with so much love and passion that he figures out a way to love this person, like to understand this person and why they are who they are and why they're doing this to him. And you just think, oh my God, like if a guy who's in the freezing cold digging a ditch with a spoon can love a Nazi soldier who's hitting him at the side of the head, then you can get along with your in-laws. You know what I'm saying?
I can't remember who it was. I believe it was a woman, same thing, concentration camp. She actually came face to face with one of the soldiers after the war, and everything that she had been talking about, she said it took everything she had. She wanted to practice what she was preaching and to pick up her hand and shake his hand, and she couldn't do it. And it's this story about what she went through.
She should have met Viktor Frankl.
Emotionally, and so now she does. She loves him. She's forgiven him. But it's an incredible story.
Wow. Joe Simpson. Joe Simpson has written more mountaineering climbing books. John Krakauer, and I'll tell you about that one too. But this is called Touching the Void, the harrowing first-person account of one man's miraculous survival. This is a teeny little book. They made they made 2 movies out of it. They made a documentary out of it, and they also made a film out of it. And Joe Simpson's writing, I mean, he's not just some guy writing about something. He lives it. He almost dies like all the time, you know what I mean? And he survives these crazy things. And there's pictures in here and everything about where he was and where they went. And this, I won't tell you about this particular story, but it's 2 guys that climb this thing, and one of them has to cut the rope. Either they both die or one dies, and what happens after one of them, I'm not going to tell you which one cuts the rope and what happens to the 2 of them. It's amazing, man. That's incredible.
Did the one that lived write the book?
I'm not saying anything about that. And so, there's this a famous, a lot of people are familiar with this book, Into Thin Air, John Krakauer's book. So Krakauer's been doing adventure stuff forever and ever. And that one Everest expedition where just so many people died. A lot of them die quite often on Everest, but on this particular one, at that time, it was one of the worst. And so Krakauer, he went along, and he happened to be there that one climb where so many, like guides died and Sherpas died, and people were dying left and right. And people were like coming off the mountain like zombies with frozen hands and feet and survived after being in a snowstorm at whatever, 21,000 feet and stuff. And so, he wrote this amazing book, and I read it, and he talked a lot about this guy called The Climb, Anatoly Bukharev. Now, Bukharev's passed away in a rock climbing incident since. But so this is sort of the counter book to this book. So you read this book, because Krakauer says some things about Bukharev, and Bukharev's like, nah, that's not exactly what happened. Let me tell you mine. So Bukharev is Russian, and he's American, and it's really cool to read these 2 books back to back, which is like, I read this book and I heard about him and he was dissing him and he dissed him back, and it's just really cool.
Interesting.
So if you just like, page-turning, non-fiction, real-life adventure stuff.
That's cool.
So you can see these are adventure books, and these are personal development, and they have nothing in common, but this is kind of where I live when I read.
And then you got my faction.
And you got combination. Well, there you go. I don't know if that was another 4-hour Tony Talks.
4 hours and
44 minutes.
And we still have the speed round. So my first question is.
Oh boy.
I'm going easy on you this week.
All right, we're gonna go back and forth, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You have your notes memorized again?
Well, I have a strategy. It's kind of it feels like a tragic shortcut. But I just wanted to know because you'll see when you ask me.
All right. If you could travel back in time, where would you go?
Oh my God. Oh my God, I just thought of something that's so irreverent and I can't say it. I'd go make sure that Mr. and Mrs. Hitler never met. Probably where I would go. I would just make sure that they never, don't get those 2 people together. Avoid a whole lot of headaches.
Final answer?
Yeah, why not? Okay, here's mine.
Oh, okay.
Where would you go?
I knew you were going to do this. I knew it. I knew you were just going to cheat off my paper. Copycat.
Well, I want to know.
I know this is going to probably sound corny to you, but I think it would be so amazing to be living in the time when Jesus lived and to be able to hear him speak.
No toilets, you know. It was rough back then.
I understand, but
Yeah.
I got a time machine. I can come back.
That's true. I'll be waiting.
Okay. You hang out here for a bit. All right. What are the
I probably have a better answer. I probably have a better answer, but...
for your first one?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. That's it. There's no second tries
No
here.
second tries. This is a speed round, and we're not being very speedy.
I know. Go.
What are the top 3 ways you deal with stress? Go.
Meditation, number 1. Epsom salt baths. I do that. And put my mouth on your the right side of your neck.
Oh, that's true. I thought you were going to say the dogs. With
The dog, and that for Charlie Bear.
That's 4.
Charlie Bear and Teddy, and sometimes.
Go ahead. What's yours?
What do you mean? I just gave you mine.
No, I know. You have a question?
Same question.
You're going to do this to me the whole
All
time?
the way down.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Top 3 ways to deal with stress. Going to the barn. Top.
Getting on your horse, yeah.
Working out.
Yeah, well, that works, right? Yeah.
That
That should be mine too, but yeah, I was trying to do non-exercise ones.
Yeah, and prayer.
Yeah, good.
What do you consider your best physical feature?
My eyes.
Ah, okay. If you're asking me the same question, my feet.
Your feet are good, but yours is your face. It's stupid.
Oh, that's what you consider my best physical
Yeah, but
feature.
that's all I
I've got great feet.
You do. You have crazy good feet, man. Let me see these things. Look at that thing.
Okay. Last question.
Wait.
They are clean, by the way.
Yeah.
If you could choose one superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
Oh,
Flying.
that would be mine too.
Yeah.
Totally
Just
mine
like,
too.
you know those dreams we have, we just like lift up and go, oh my God, I'm up off the beach. I can look
I've actually
at it."
never had a dream like that ever in my
You've
whole
never had a
life.
flying dream.
Never.
Flying dreams are an indication that you're just happy. You're just in a happy place. I've had super. Well, you're a miserable son of a bitch. Yeah, flying dreams and flying. Golly.
I have falling dreams a lot.
Well, that means that the opposite of flying, I think.
Great. You could all psychoanalyze us right after
yours
this.
is flying too?
Yeah, mine's, if I had a superpower, I'd want to fly.
Fly. Yeah,
I
Superman.
certainly wouldn't want to read minds. I'm way too insecure for that.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, you'd learn more than you'd want to.
Way more.
Mm-hmm. All right, what else you got?
That's it. That was our 6 questions.
Oh,
and
wow,
we
that
were,
was 6?
And we were done. And that was probably like a 90-minute Tony Talk.
Oh my God. But then, I think we just do this for us.
We do.
We're doing this for us so we can learn more about each other.
I know, because he never asked me questions.
What? That is silly. I ask you all, yeah. I'll ask her a question about her past. She's like, yeah, I'm not telling you about
That is not true.
Yeah, because you were a wild one.
Not true.
You're a wild
I'm
woman.
very honest about my wild child days.
That's true. That's true. I was a bit on the wild side. Well, anyway, enough of this stuff. We thank you all. Episode 12. Can't believe it, Mrs. H. We keep on trucking, keep on keeping on, and you keep on watching. Most
We
of you
appreciate that.
and we thank you for that. Yeah. So.
And as long as you have questions, we're going to try and find answers.
Yeah, and these are really some good ones. The ski stuff and the books. Yeah, keep that kind of stuff coming too. And by the way, we hit one on motivation again this week because everybody has a different way to try to get motivated.
Yep.
So keep them coming, and maybe by episode 45 we'll run out of stuff to talk about. But your stories have been amazing, so keep those coming as well.
Please.
And then, these all end up on the YouTube channel, so always subscribe, always like, or dislike. Like, you guys stink. You can do that too. We don't care. We're not, we don't.
But I read this, and I do have very sensitive feelers.
Yes. So if you want to make Shauna cry, do one of these. Don't do that. All right, Mr. and Mrs.
Horton.
See you next time.